Hello, everyone. How you guys doing today? I apologize. I guess I accidentally scheduled the live at the wrong time. I'm sorry for anybody who was waiting for me 40 minutes ago. I apologize for that. When I go to when I go to schedule it, it automatically defaults to whatever time it is at the moment. And if I don't hit to change it, then it schedules it like immediately. So my apologies for that. I apologize if you guys have been here waiting on me, and I haven't been here, so I do apologize. So hope you guys are having a good day. I'm sorry. I apologize. I did not realize until I came up here, and then I was just rechecking everything, and I was like, oh, why does that say 6:20 on it? That's weird. I didn't schedule it for 6:20. I'm sorry, Freddie. I apologize. I'm sorry. I would say I'll never happen again, but I can't promise that. Okay, this isn't the first time I've screwed this up, so I can't imagine it will be the last. Just like I just realized that I forgot something. I'll be right back. I am muted. My bad. I said my bad. I had this lemonade that I ordered and I wanted it because it would have been all watered down by the time I came back. So my bad. So I will say real quick, hello, if you're in here and you realize that you lost your mod powers, okay, don't trip out. All right, don't trip out. I took away most of the mods. Okay. The reason for that is not because I was upset with anybody or anything like that. What I realized is that most of my mods are not in my Discord. So I was giving new mod instructions for the live tonight, and a lot of the people that I was trying to give mod instruction to weren't in my Discord for me to give them to. So that was also, if you're not seeing your normal mod powers, it's because you weren't in my Discord. Except for VJ, I left yours in there just because you never venture out of that live, so there's no point. So that was all. So if you saw, I don't even see any of the mods in here yet, so I don't think I see any of them. Oh, they didn't do anything wrong, Denzel. We're just loosening up some stuff and tightening up some other stuff, and just trying to make this best experience that we can make it. You can find the link to the Discord in my link tree in my bio. Denzel, that happens a lot, actually. That's actually one of the bigger problems. people get a little frisk, and everybody's just trying to do right. They're not trying to do anything wrong. But here's the thing, guys. I'm here to talk to MAGA, and if you mute and block all the MAGA, then how am I supposed to talk to MAGA? Doesn't even seem possible. Well, it's the truth, right? I'm here to talk to MAGA, and if you mute and block all the MAGA, then there's no MAGA for me to talk to. I sent you a friend requests and Discord. I don't ever check my friend requests, VJ. You should Did you try to join the server? Well, I feel lots of things about what's going on in Minnesota. But I will only be talking about that in phone calls and not into the chat right now. So, um, is there a second? No, I only have one Discord. I understand, Gene. Corey, of course you can mock them. That just makes it fun. All right. Of course you can mock them. I I've made kind of a whole platform out of doing that, honestly. Did I hear about the guy in Missouri? You're gonna have to be a little bit more specific. I heard about the guy in Kansas. That's fucking hilarious. Did you guys hear about this mayor in Kansas? It's the funniest thing. If you haven't heard about the mayor in Kansas, it is the funniest thing to come out of the news, like, ever. Yeah, Esther, you didn't hear about him? What happened? All right. I've seen enough people say they don't know what happened. So there's this mayor in Kansas. I can't remember the name of the city. It's like, or town. It's like Caldwell or something like that. And he is a mayor. He's an elected mayor of this town. Okay, who isn't a U.S. citizen. All right, he's proudly MAGA, right? In a city that went like 83% for Trump. Something to that effect, like 83% for Trump. Anyways, the dude's been voting in elections since like 2000. He's not a citizen. He's a green card holder. He's been voting in elections for 25 years. So the district's attorney for Kansas realized this was happening and is prosecuting him for voter fraud. Which then he'd be a criminal, and so he'd be subject to deportation. It sounds like I'm making this up. I am not making this up. This is 100% true, right? And the people in this town are losing their minds. This city that went like 83% for Trump, they're losing their mind that their mayor is about to be deported. There's so much to unpack just in this little story, right? There's so much to unpack in this little story, right? It's just layer after layer after layer after layer after layer. First of all, I didn't know that a Kansas town would vote in a mayor that was not a U.S. citizen. Okay? Like, doesn't that sound like some California shit? Right? Just being honest. Like, if someone told you, like, oh, there's a mayor of a city in California, not a U.S. citizen, green card holder, you'd be like, that sounds like some California shit. Like, you'd be Kansas, never in a million years. Never would have thought of it. Second of all right, this guy who's the mayor, I guarantee you when he was running for office was like all for it, was like, we have to get these illegals out of our country. Knowing that he's up there not being a citizen, knowing that that's true. Okay? All of these MAGA people in this town were probably like, yep, we got to get all these Latinos out of By the way, he came here when he was like 4. He's literally a dreamer. Right? He's literally a dreamer. As he supports Trump, who's trying to get rid of DACA. In case you guys have not caught up with the story, guys come in. There's a mayor in Kansas who's MAGA, who's about to be deported. He's DACA, sorry. So this, and the town is like, he's the nicest guy. He's more American than most Americans I know. He's more American than most Americans I know. He doesn't deserve to get deported. That's wrong. It's like, yeah, dude, did you think like it's like they think, oh, only Democrats could like an immigrant. Like, what? Look, I don't really be wishing for like people's downfall. Okay? I don't do that at all. I hope this dude gets deported so bad. Like what I hope this dude gets whole deported. Okay? You can talk, you can say shit on me. You can say whatever you want about me, okay? I do not care. All right? Sometimes you dig your own grave and sometimes you got to go lay in it. Okay? Cuz guess what? There have been towns and cities and everything in every sort of place, especially the places that are more liberal that Donald Trump is attacking like specifically, who have had their friends and their families and everybody else ripped away from them also. And I just want the Republicans to feel some of that hurt. That's all. Just so they can see one of theirs get taken away. Just being honest. Cold water. That's this dude's name. Caldwell, something like that. I knew it. That's the dude's name. Jose, so is it Ceballos? Coldwater, Kansas mayor. Anyways, look up the story later. Maybe he should self-deport. Maybe he should self-deport. You know? And since it's such a good deal, that's what the Republicans keep telling us, right? All these people are self-deporting. It's such a good deal. Why do these feel back? Why do these feel off? I guess they feel fine. It's just a thought, okay? Do with it what you will.
It's insane.
Loyalty apparently saw it too. Loyalty, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Said, when I saw this news feed on my phone, I cried. I saw it and like literally, I literally like looked over to Aria and I was like, you're not gonna believe what the hell I just read. Like, you're not gonna believe what the hell I just read. Craziness. And it has to be wild for me to get surprised because I read all the crazy shit, right? Like, I read all sorts of crazy shit, right? Like, I wasn't even surprised when Kristi Noem tried to give Donald Trump credit for there not being any hurricanes this year. Still wasn't surprised. Didn't even get surprised. I was like, yep, that checks. Bro, I've been trying to call in. Yeah, you have to wait till I turn on the phone lines, which I'll do in a minute or two. Yeah, wasn't even surprised when Kristi Noem said that Donald Trump is the reason why hurricanes didn't come to the United States. Okay, wasn't even surprised. But it did surprise me that there was a MAGA mayor in Kansas who wasn't a U.S. citizen. Okay, that's so much to unpack right there, and that he was committing voter fraud, and that he's up for deportation. So, anyways, thank you so much. I appreciate that loyalty. Pixie, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Happy Thursday. Get to listen to you on my way home in traffic. So make sure you give Summer some good pets. Summer got a bunch of shots today. Summer had a vet appointment. Summer got lots of shots today. So she's not in the best mood today. But she'll get lots of pets. She's had plenty already. And Luis, thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships. Huge W's to check for Luis for the 10 gifteds over here. I really, really appreciate that. OG Raider, Resin, Loffies, something, Tamara, Tamara, I'm sorry, Sadie, Mike, Edwin, Death Metal Black, Jason, Liz, all received memberships from Luis. Huge W's in the chat for that. I really, really appreciate you, Luis. That is really, really awesome. All right. I guess it's time to get this thing started. We don't got all night. I've already been up here running my mouth for like 15 minutes. So let's open it up. Let's get this thing going. Have a little fun today. Hope you guys are all having a good one. Let's see. Let's start here. Oh, got one on each. Hello? Hello? All right, I'm gonna assume that was an accident then. Hello, how are you?
Hi. I just wanted to say big love from Canada.
Hell yeah, Canada in the house.
And I just took a bunch of edibles. This is gonna be hilarious. Yeah.
Stupid. Hello, how are you? Hello? All right, you're not there either. Weird, because you've called like a whole bunch. Hello, how are you?
How's it going?
I'm doing great. How's it going over there?
You know, it's cold.
Yes,
My
it
name
is.
Paleo Plesha. I own Raise Your Flags. It's a right-wing talk show.
Oh, well, that's cool, man.
I appreciate it. So you want to talk about why do I support Trump?
Sure, would love to.
Okay. What is your position initially?
My position is asking you, why do you support Trump? And then after that, that's usually when you answer it.
Right. So I support Trump because economically we're up $11 trillion. Crime is down about 22%. Those are guaranteed investments. Those are factually, governmentally verified paperwork. Not 18 trillion, but 11 at the moment.
Okay, well, that's cool, sir.
22% crime.
Yeah, well,
Right,
let's just start with the first
crime.
thing. Sound good? So where are we getting that $11 trillion from? Okay, sorry, you want it? All right, if you're gonna give a list, that's totally fine. But then, can we please stop repeating the list?
I didn't even get through the list. I got 2 words through the list. And
I know
interrupted me to tell me that it's incorrect.
No, I'm not telling you it's incorrect. I was actually going to ask you something about it. But if I was saying, if you want to say the whole list, that's totally fine. But we got to get on with it too. I don't need a dissertation, but we can go. We can keep going.
Right.
Okay.
So
11 million. Hold on. Let me get my pen.
That Trump has done.
Hold on.
Then you want to interrupt.
Let me get my pen and paper. All right. So let's see. 11 million up. You didn't specify what up meant. That's what I was going to ask you, but that's fine. We can keep moving on. We're 11 million up in the economy. which, all right,
Trillion,
that's fine.
With a T, not a million. With a T.
Okay, trillion, that's fine. That whatever
Trillion,
up in the
correct.
economy
That's
means, we're still not
guaranteed
sure. I've
foreign
never, I
economics.
never heard that in an economics class, but that's totally fine.
I know.
And
because
crime
you're stuttering
down,
quite a bit. You got very offensive when I said
crime down
mention
22.
things
Sir,
even
I'm
though you
just
can't
writing it
counter
down,
argument.
sir. I'm just writing it
Right.
down. I don't want to
No,
miss
you're
any of your
interrupting.
points.
No, you're interrupting and you're being sarcastic. You know you can't answer.
Sir,
these
you run a
arguments.
talk show and you're this whiny?
I'm not whining.
Okay,
This
then
is
can you please be
recorded.
quiet while I write this down? Crime down
This is pretty
22%. Okay, what's your next point? I got my
Correct.
pen and paper now.
Correct. Fentanyl deaths are down 34,000.
All right, fentanyl deaths down 34,000. Whatever the hell that means.
It means 34,000.
No, sir, I'm not
died
asking
from
any questions.
fentanyl.
You got mad at me last time I tried to ask you a
You
question.
asked a
Just move on to
question
the
with
next
a
point,
question
sir.
mark,
No,
and I
sir.
answered. You didn't like the
No, I
answer,
said
so
I
you're
don't
getting
know,
defensive.
sir. I said I don't know what
You
that
don't know
means.
what that means?
I don't know what that means. Doesn't have a question mark on it, does it?
Yes.
No, I don't know what that means
Because
is a
you
statement.
asked
There's
me
a
with a
period at the
question.
end. I didn't ask you a
You
singular
shrugged your
question.
shoulders.
I just said I don't know what that means. But again, I tried to ask you what the first thing meant, and you got all upset that
thought
I
it
was interrupting
pretty
you. So why don't you just
self-explanatory,
keep
but
moving
you're
on to the
very
next point?
defensive. You're very emotional.
Sir,
So
I'm
we'll
just
get to the
asking
next
you to
point.
continue on with your points. I don't
You
know why you're
seem
having such a hard
worried.
time.
If I
Is that
were
your
you, I
is that
would
your
be
full
worried.
guys? I have it right here. See, I even crossed out million and put trillion
seem
right
pretty
there. I'm
worried.
writing down his
You
things.
weren't ready for me to be the first caller.
Sir,
Are
I
you gonna
don't
hang
care
up because
about
you
you.
get
You mean
upset?
nothing to me. I'm waiting for you to be done with your list.
I'm gonna mean something to you. in a
Well, can you
moment when
hurry up with
so
your
I am.
list?
Why don't you start with the first one? Why don't
No,
you
sir,
start
I
with the first
tried
one
to
after
do
you
that.
finish?
I said I want to start with the first
No,
one.
you interrupted me. This
Sir,
is being
please be
recorded.
quiet now.
You run the talk
Sir,
show.
of
You
course
should
it's
know
being
this.
recorded. All of my lives are recorded
Okay.
and posted
Okay.
online every single day. Now, so I'm going to explain to you what just happened in this conversation, okay? You said 11 economy is up 11 trillion, which isn't
Guaranteed investment.
isn't a thing, right? But regardless, I tried
That
to ask you a question about that. You got very upset. You started whining and crying about me interrupting you. No, sir,
interrupted
sir,
me
sir,
when I
sir.
was on my
Here's
second
what's going to
point.
happen is I'm going to finish this sentence and then you can
didn't
speak.
let me finish. It's
You know, I don't
recorded. So we can
really
play
care
it
about
back
that, sir.
right-
Sir,
would
you
like me
probably
to
never
play it
let a
back?
woman finish ever, but that doesn't change the
My
fact that I'm
girlfriend's
going
right
to
here.
finish this sentence. Okay.
I'm married. You're married to a guy.
Oh, good one. Anyways,
Okay, so what do you
I'm
know
gonna
about women finishing?
So I'm going to let this I'm going to have this sentence finished. Okay. And if you don't let me finish it, I'm going to mute you. Okay. That's it. Simple stuff.
I'm sure you wouldn't mute me. You didn't mute
Okay,
yourself though
so-
when you interrupted me.
So here's how this went. I asked you, you said 11 trillion up in the economy, which again doesn't make any sense, not a real sentence. Okay. And I was trying to ask you what you meant by that. Then you started blowing up. You started getting all like upset because you said I was interrupting you. You said you wanted to finish your list. So I said, not a problem. I will go ahead and write down your entire list. So now I am waiting for you to finish your entire list. And now you're telling me to go back to do what I was trying to do from the get-go, which was start with number 1. So now I'm not doing that. Please tell me your exhaustive list, and then we will start at 1 and we
not
will
a
go
word.
down the list. Sound great?
Okay, so for one, would you like me to replay back where you interrupted me 3 times at the beginning of this, or do you not want to hear that?
Sir, I already have the list. We're at 3 things. Do
Did
you have a
interrupt
4th?
me or did you not? Or are you
Yes
going
or
to
no,
mute that?
sir? Do you have a 4th thing?
See, you don't want to talk about facts. So let's
Sir,
start with the very
Yes
first one.
or no? Do you have a 4th thing?
Oh, I have about 13 of them. but
Okay, well then let's start with
one.
number.
Don't
No,
double down on
sir.
fact-
You don't
Yeah,
tell me
listen
what to
now,
start
it's
with
my
on.
turn to talk.
Sir,
I let you talk.
I'm
and
sorry,
you're
sir.
interrupting me again.
Do I go on your show and tell you where to
I-
start?
You just told me where to start. I told you
No.
that 4 is fine. You can't even get past
Okay.
the first one. So let's do.
Oh, we
4.
do want to. You
But
do
you're
want to
not
go back to the
answering
first
any
one. Perfect.
questions.
No, we
You're
can
just-
totally go to the
you're
first one. That's totally
deflecting.
fine, sir. So, what?
Sir.
How is the economy up $11 trillion?
I did not say the economy is up
Yes, you
11
did.
trillion. I said the economy has $11 trillion of guaranteed foreign domestic investment. That's what I said.
Foreign domestic investment. What does that mean?
Yes.
How can
That
something be
means that
both foreign
countries
and domestic?
are investing domestically. That means foreign countries are investing domestically.
Okay, cool. So that wouldn't be foreign
Okay.
domestic investment. That would just
It
be
is, because
foreign
it's in a
domestic.
foreign
That would be
country
foreign
that is
investment.
investing domestically.
Right. In order for it to be foreign domestic investing, domestic
Those are
people would have to
still
be
synonymous
investing.
to each
So
other.
you're
You're
saying
just
that.
doing
So
word
you're
for it,
saying
because
that
you
foreign.
can't
All right.
answer
He
the
does-
question. So you're
Sir, what
nitpicking
question
words.
did you ask me?
You said you were going to counter it. So counter it.
What question did you ask me?
So you can't counter it.
So he just
Is
said,
it
I
true or not
can't
true?
answer a question. And then I asked him which
You asked me
question
what it
he
means, and I
asked
told
me.
you what it
And
means,
he
and you were
has
supposed
not,
to
he
counter.
apparently there was no question. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go back to what I was saying since I can't answer a question that wasn't asked. All right. All right. Awesome.
Are you
So
going to answer any of the answers or what?
Am I going
What
to
was the
answer
question?
any of the answers? That is the only thing
You
I have the
said
ability to do. I can
exhaustive.
only
You said
answer with answers. I
exhaustive
can't
list, and
answer
you
with
want to worry
questions.
about me talking. I'm sitting here with my
I'm
eyes
trying
closed.
to
I'm
ask you a
bored.
question about your
You
statement,
haven't
but it doesn't seem
answered
like you
a
want much
single. All
scrutiny.
you've done is cry.
All right, sir. Well, again, I'm trying
Stop
to ask
crying
you
and answer a fact.
answer a fact.
Yes,
Okay. How
these
can
are
I
facts
answer a fact?
because they're facts. You can't prove them wrong. So answer it like you said you were.
I can't answer it. You haven't asked me a question.
I did.
Okay,
I
what
gave-
question did you ask me?
So you asked me to give you a list. You said you would counter them. Are you
No, I did
going to
not.
counter them?
I never said I would counter them.
Okay. So what are you going to do with the list?
Maybe
Stare
you
at it?
really should play that back.
Okay. We can play back you interrupting and crying and how you're shaking on your call because you weren't ready.
I'm
for the
shaking.
replay
Yes,
call.
sir. You're the
You are shaking.
sir. You're
Read
not
your
even the
views.
smartest person I've debated today, and I
You
haven't. I
smartest
just started
isn't
my
even
life.
a word.
Okay.
Okay.
So, is it okay if I
you're
ask you questions
pragmatic
about
at
your
best.
point now?
Sure.
Awesome. Where is this investment coming from?
Now, the White House announced it from every world leader that has also signed it in the paperwork. And I'm sure you watched it.
Gotcha. So the White House said that every world leader,
The world leaders.
every
themselves.
world leader has
I didn't say- don't nitpick
invested
words.
has invested $11 trillion. Is that combined or like each?
That would be a collective total.
Collective. So between, I believe there's 193 recognized countries in the world.
Right.
So
If we're gonna go
192 of them
concept,
minus the United States,
you're
because
gonna
you're already very
nitpick
specific
words
that.
to an exact extent because you know you don't have a counter argument, so you're going to be petty.
Okay, so again, I was saying that 192 of them have now
Well, you know
invested.
what
That's
you're doing,
perfectly
and
fine.
what
Okay,
you're doing is
so
like
of the
some
11
people run
trillion that
debate
192
classes
countries
instead of
have invested,
This is
where
like-
are there
this
any?
is like
Sir,
freshman year college debate class shit.
wow,
Like,
you know what, sir?
you're
If it
doing
was
is
a
you're
freshman, sir,
nitpicking
sir, do you know
word
why,
for
sir,
word what
sir,
I'm saying and
sir,
then taking it
sir,
completely out
sir,
of context
sir,
because you don't have a counter
sir,
argument.
sir, a freshman year of college argument would be light
Yes,
years ahead
correct.
of anything that you've said.
You haven't
Okay.
answered or countered a single thing.
Because I
All you've
haven't
done is
been asked a
nitpick
question,
things
sir.
out of
Again, for the
context.
final
You've had
time, I
This is
cannot answer a
recorded.
question, sir. For the final time, I can't answer a question if I have not been asked one. Okay? You have
Is it
asked me to
true that
answer this
country has
question
received
about
over $10
12
trillion
times.
in
About
foreign
12
investment,
times,
yes or no?
you have said that I have been not answered a question. And again, you
It's
have not given
12.
me
I
a
know
question to
counting is
answer.
hard for
So,
you. Okay, I'm going to give you
So,
a simple question.
can
Are
you
ready?
please-
I might sound it out for you.
sure.
Has the country received $10 trillion in foreign guaranteed investments?
No.
Yes or no? Okay. According to what?
According to those countries or any country.
Okay. Saudi Arabia guaranteed $2 trillion, upwards of $2 trillion.
In a
foreign
signed
investment
agreement?
Guarantee of $800 billion.
In a signed
Absolutely.
agreement.
Yes.
In a signed
How about
agreement.
Qatar? How about Qatar?
Yeah, no, I'm asking where that signed agreement is because there has been no signed shown agreement from any of these countries that have actually shown any of this investment. Saudi Arabia is
Okay,
literally
so-
Saudi Arabia is currently, and so is Qatar and so is UAE. They are currently guaranteeing investment, according to Donald Trump, for more money than their country has GDP. How is that possible?
Okay, because GDP. Okay. Okay. This is not an instantaneous investment. Like you don't just get a wire transfer. This is an over time. So it's a percentage of their GDP. Their GDP increases over time, but their investment is a dividend. So therefore, it would be about 2% of their overall collective GDP. I know you think that it's a wire
Gotcha.
transfer of $800 billion.
So-
it's about 20 years
Gotcha.
of $800 billion, and their GDP is also not their net worth. So their liquid assets are non-tangible.
Yeah,
So what
gotcha.
you're not understanding is that they're not sending their entire country's GDP, which is not even how that works. And I'm sure you should know that because you do a talk show about economics. But you're not instantaneously getting $800 billion from a country. It is over time.
Okay,
those
gotcha.
investments
So
will vary
according to
between
your-
5 to 30 years.
Yeah, perfect. So according to your math, Qatar is giving 2% of their GDP over a length of time. All right.
That
So
was a relative example. I don't know.
Okay, well,
what Qatar
I'll give you-
guaranteed
I can give
exactly
you more-
from
I can
GDP.
double
I
it.
know Qatar did.
I can double it if that's
can-
if that's
you can
helpful
give
for you. So their current
5% over
GDP,
20 years. It
yeah,
doesn't matter.
sure. If it's 5%, let's go there. Okay. So at 5% of their GDP, which is $220 billion, right?
Sure.
Times 0.05. All right, cool. So that would be about 11. Okay. So at that rate, they would have that investment over, let's see, about 150 years. That's how
I don't
long
know
it would
what's
take
the
Qatar
definition.
to
Point.
actually
Why did
invest the
you? Why
amount
did
of
you
money.
put it in the
That's how
0.5?
much money it would actually, how much time it would actually take Qatar to invest the amount of money that Donald Trump is claiming that they're doing.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, did
So
you?
do
Now,
you
since
really
you
think that
think
it's
you're good at
logical
doing
that
math,
that
did
we're
you
actually
add
doing an
network?
invest?
Did
Well,
you
sir,
add GDP increase? You
sure,
didn't
sir.
add
If we
GDP
add in
growth.
GDP increase of what,
Good.
what 2 to 3% a year max,
What is
then
the
it might cut it
that's
down to
not
100.
Qatar's GDP.
Then we
No,
could cut
it
it down
wouldn't. It
to
would
about
cut it down to
100.
about 30.
So
It would cut it
gotcha.
down to
So
about
my
30.
great grandkids will then at some point receive all of
Correct.
Qatar's
That is how
investments.
economic investments
Okay.
work. Do you
And in
know
what
that we
sectors
just
are they
stopped
putting
paying
this
off World
investment
War
into?
II investments into Europe? That ended for about that was about 50 years long.
Awesome. Cool. So
I know you don't
in
know
what
how
sectors?
long-term investments work, but
Yeah,
those
I'm
are
very
how they
familiar,
work.
sir. In what sectors has Qatar agreed to invest in the United States?
Primarily military and airlines.
Military and airlines. Okay. And where can I find this?
Correct. When he went to Qatar and announced it with
No,
the
where can
Crown
I
Prince
see
of
the
Qatar.
agreement between the United States? See, when we
Why
have
don't
like
you
foreign
Google it?
investment and
Because
like
you
trade stuff,
Googled a bunch of
where
math
can I
without
see?
insert of
Are you just
notation.
talking
Why don't
about
you
Donald
Google
Trump's?
the agreement?
When you say airlines, are you just talking about the plane that they gave Donald Trump? Because that's not considered
Yeah.
a foreign
Why don't
investment
you
in the
look
United
up
States.
what Qatar promised in the first place? Because you're too busy talking about a mayor of a town of 600 people instead of talking about
Sir, I have not talked about a
actuality.
mayor of anything since you've been up here. I'm trying to get answers out of you.
You
The
did.
answers that you
You
apparently
spent
don't
10
have.
minutes talking about a mayor of a town of 600 people where the
No, sir.
aggregate
Right
age
now, I
is
am talking about the
54.
signed agreement to
Now we're
invest in the United
talking
States.
about Qatar.
No, we're talking
You
about
said
one
you
thing,
don't
sir. We're
know.
talking about one thing and one thing only. You want to know what that one thing is?
We're talking about your
Sir,
math.
we are talking about one
Your
thing
math
and one
is
thing only. Do you know what that thing is?
horrible. Yeah, economic investment.
Nope,
You
that's
didn't
not
know
it.
what GDP meant.
That's not
You
it at
didn't
all.
know what GDP meant. In the first place, you didn't even know what GDP meant.
Sir,
So I
one
know there's
thing. Do
some
you want to know what that is?
What is it?
Okay, the one thing we're talking about is me waiting for you to show any proof, okay, any outside of somebody from Saudi Arabia told Donald Trump or didn't tell Donald Trump that they were investing. Any type of tangible evidence, signed agreement, signed investment structure, anything. You know what? I don't even need signed, okay? If you can just give me a framework, right? And show me a framework of investment in the United States. Now, normally these things would be, hundreds of pages if we were actually going to have a prolonged, even 20-year investment plan in the United States. These things would be hundreds, if not thousands of pages. We know Donald Trump's not reading, we're not reading that far into it. So if you could just show me like a simple outline in any way, shape, or form that shows that any one of these countries has invested any of this money or actually has a guarantee to do it, I'll be all ears. I would love to see it.
So you're telling me that foreign leaders are going to make false investment announcements to a country where they spent $300 million just inviting him into the country on parades and shows, but they're not actually going to invest in the country because a liberal in America says that you need exact paperwork, which usually isn't publicized initially. It takes about, 2 years or so for it to be, released and redacted. So I'm trying to understand how you decided that these countries are not investing in the United States because they haven't produced a receipt for you to read over. And then what would you do if they produced the receipt? Would you say good job or would you say it's racist?
First of all, I don't know what race would have anything to do with it, but nice little dog whistle
Well,
there. Okay, but no, sir, I'm answering. No, you asked me a question. I'm in the middle of answering. Sir, I'm in the middle of answering your question now.
Was that an answer?
Okay, sir.
That
What I
seemed
was
like
trying to,
that seemed like a question.
See, what I was trying to prove to you, and thank you very much for proving my exact point and walking right through the door I left open for you, okay, is that this is not a guaranteed investment. Okay, it's not. There is no guaranteed agreement in order to invest this money. What you do have is a pledge from these countries, which even you said would take 2 to 3 years at most, at minimum, right, in order to draw up any type of agreement. So literally, by the time that any of these agreements would actually come to fruition in any way, shape, and form to actually become agreements and not just random pledges, Donald Trump wouldn't even be president anymore. Okay, so we wouldn't even have any of these things. So this is not an agreed investment. It is just two people saying, hey, I could do this. And it's another person going, yeah, we'd love if you could do that. But the thing is that they have nothing actually binding them to actually doing this. So therefore, it is not a guaranteed investment, which is what you said it was.
Countries have anything binding them or not? How do you know that? Are you just assuming?
Because if they were binding, we would see an agreement. It wouldn't be that hard. Donald Trump, last time he said he had a binding agreement, held up blank papers in front of the Prime Minister of the UK, he said it was the EU because he can't tell the difference. But he held up a binder with a bunch of blank papers, right, and said, "This is the agreement.
I know
This
what
is
you're
the
talking about.
agreement that we
It's
agreed on with the
because those
EU."
paperworks are
Again, it wasn't the
redacted, they're
EU,
not
sir,
public
sir. But
access.
see
You would know
that,
that.
see, right? What he should have had in
But
there
those
instead
are
of,
not
sir,
public access.
sir, in what he should have had in there, okay, instead of blank papers that he was showing everybody, would actually be an agreement. Like, we do have a trade agreement with the UK now, right? Like, I know that we have a trade agreement, right? There's a signed document between both countries that agrees to certain terms, and now I can look at those terms and decide whether those terms are good for the United States or bad for the United States or indifferent for the United States, because now I have that ability because there's, there's a document stating it. But just some two people, especially two people that, well, let's be honest, Donald Trump, who is not above being bribed, right? And not above making announcements that, have no factuality in them whatsoever. I am not just going to believe Donald Trump or fucking, like Bin Salman I kill reporters, okay, that they're going to invest this money until I see an agreement. All right?
All right, so do you know how investments work in the first place?
I know how lots of investments work. Are you going to respond to anything that I said?
Well, pretty much everything you said was fluff. None of it held any type of weight. You said Trump gets bribed. It's illegal to take bribes. You think because they were gifted a plane, which is going to be turned into Air Force One, it's a bribe? We have no reason to take bribes from Qatar, by the way. I don't think you understand what Qatar is, but it's about, maybe a quarter of Florida? They don't have too much oil. Most of their money comes from foreign investments and linkage to the UAE. So their economy is not, there's no reason to take a bribe from them. Can't legally take a bribe, and it's going to be an Air Force One plane. So that's the only bribe you're talking about. So,
it's not going to be an Air Force One plane. Donald Trump said he was transferring it into
will be
the
an Air Force One plane. It's
Donald Trump
being
said,
refitted
sir,
right now
sir,
in Texas
sir. Donald
to
Trump
be an
said,
Air Force
Donald
One
Trump
plane.
said out of his own mouth that he's transferring it to the presidential library, which therefore it would not be an Air Force One plane. Okay,
would that
that's
be
already
part
done
of
right
the
there.
presidential
Second of all,
fleet?
literally
Would
the
that be a
CEO
part
of
of the
Apple, sir,
presidential fleet?
literally the CEO of
Okay,
Apple
thank you.
handed him a gold brick. So let's not talk about him being like afraid to be bribed. He
Okay.
literally
I don't
handed him a
think
gold
you
brick.
know the federal
So let's
law, but
not.
He can't take
Oh,
that.
I'm very familiar with the federal law, sir. I'm not sure Donald Trump is, and I'm not sure you are either.
I'm sure
okay,
he's aware.
but sir,
I'm
and
sure
since
he's fully
you,
aware.
sir, since you do not have any type of documentation outside of Donald Trump said, okay, to show that any of this investment is actually tangible whatsoever, you have absolutely nothing to stand on. Especially considering Donald Trump told over 30,000 confirmed or misleading statements just in his first
30,000
presidency alone,
from who?
and continues
Who's
to do
your
it.
source on
Sir,
30,000, you're not arguing anything. You're just talking fast and throwing out random words.
PolitiFact and the Washington Post both did articles on those
PolitiFact and
misleading
Washington
statements,
Post.
actually,
Washington Post.
and
So
PolitiFact
those are your
and Politico, I believe, also.
And Politico. Wow, those are some pretty good sources. Definitely non-biased. You know who owns those?
Sir, I don't, sir,
You know about that?
every source is biased.
know
I'm
about
not
that?
worried about that. But when I have multiple different,
understand that. Do you
when I
know-
have
do you know
most,
how many
sir,
Congress
sir,
is
you telling me
Biden
who
died? You
owns
couldn't
them?
talk.
I don't give a shit who owns them. Okay,
Of course
truly,
not.
I
They're owned by
don't.
Democrats.
Do they make?
So why would
Do
they
they
not be
make?
in your
Sir,
favor?
sir, there are certain things from these organizations that I'm sure are biased. That's why you have editorials, you have opinion pieces. I
Yeah,
have no
but
doubt
that's
of
why
that,
you
right,
just
sir?
listed off three
But sir, when you can
completely
actually, sir,
notoriously biased
sir,
sources
sir,
as your
sir,
argument. It's not an
sir, I
argument, it's
understand. I understand that your only ability to have some type of conversation with me is to start talking 3 words into every one of my sentence. Okay, but
You've been talking. You
Sir.
said nothing.
sir, I understand that, but you keep asking me questions and I keep trying to answer them, and then you start talking. So this is how this is going to work from now on. Okay.
Yeah, this is not a debate.
If
This
you
is
ask me a
live.
question, this is not a debate, sir. And a debate requires 2 people of intellect that are actually smart on the same subject, and you don't
You
qualify
can't even
under
spell
that, sir.
intellect
So this
if
could
you
not
tried
possibly
your
be a
best.
debate. You are not intelligent enough for this type of conversation with
Your
me,
chat
okay,
was
sir?
laughing at you because you started shaking. You're terrified. You're not even saying anything intellectual.
Sir, what would
You're
I be
lying.
terrified
You're saying
of?
that a pledge. You said
What
a
would I be
pledge is not
terrified of,
guaranteed
sir?
investment.
Sir, what would I be terrified of?
Losing debates on your first video.
Sir,
like
I
your
lose
first
debates
call
all the
of your
time.
show.
I've lost plenty of debates on here. I've been doing this for years.
I've
You think I'm
watched what you
afraid of
lost,
losing a
and
debate?
You lie a lot too. You're a pretty notorious liar.
I'm
That's
a
why I
pretty
called
notorious.
it
So you're a
because I
fan.
thought you'd be
Hey guys,
hilarious.
can we get a bunch of fans and clapping in
did.
here?
I watched
Apparently this
about
guy's a fan.
about
Apparently this
4
guy has
hours.
this super
Is that your
successful
argument?
show.
You're gonna start
Apparently
saying I'm
this
a
guy
fan?
has this
I
super
called
successful
studying
show,
my
but spends
opposition.
most of his time watching me. Isn't that pretty
I spent
impressive?
about
We have
4
a fan.
hours, and that's
I do.
pretty
Yo, make sure you
generous.
guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button,
You should
just
subscribe
like
to him.
this
I
guy
agree.
did,
I
because he
prefer to
apparently
have
is one of my
opposition.
biggest fans. Okay.
I didn't subscribe to you. It says it when I wrote on the post, but
Mm.
you know, I definitely support my opposition, even though I find you completely retarded.
So you're not my
I do
opposition.
support you.
sir.
You are my opposition because
You're not my
I would
opposition,
consider
sir.
you a
Just
very
those,
high-level
just the,
opposition
sir,
for sure.
sir.
But a nice morning warm-up, you
Sir,
are.
you're not opposition, okay? You're the you're
You,
I'm
you
like sugar,
screamed
like
and
I'm like
yelled and you
Sean
interrupted.
O'Malley,
You started
okay? And you're like
crying.
a toddler.
You're
That's not
not
worth
Sean
having
O'Malley
competition.
because you're fat.
So,
You're fat.
anyways,
You're not Sean O'Malley, and you're black. So you're definitely not Sean O'Malley. You're more like, I don't know, who's that big fat dude that just got laid off from the UFC?
I don't know. Regardless,
That's
in this
who you.
situation, you're still a toddler, okay? So, regardless of
I'm
any
not
of
a
that, sir,
toddler. You
again, for the
interrupted me and started yelling over me.
while
It's
I
it's
know,
recorded, by the way.
sir, last chance,
To point that out.
shh, shh, shh. So, while I would love to sit here and like, throw jabs back at
Now you're
you,
gonna
and
hang up
all right,
because
I'm
you
muting
can't.
you. You're beyond it. So, I would love to sit here and throw jabs with you, which is, very childish, which is what you want to digress this conversation into, okay? Because you absolutely have nothing else to say. I'm going to ask you for the final time, and I would like you to answer the question if that's all right? What outside of Donald Trump said so is showing that there is a single dollar being invested in foreign investment into this country?
Am I unmuted? Are you done crying? You need my tissues? What? Okay. So when Obama receives pledges and they were fulfilled, those are fine. But when Trump receives pledges but they're not fulfilled, that's not fine. I'm not understanding your logic.
So is your answer to the question, I have none?
No, the answer to the logic is that pledges and guaranteed investments are still the same because they're
Okay.
upheld to, you don't just pledge anything. Now, if you need paperwork for it, that's fine. But at the end of the day, what are you going to say when the pledges are fulfilled? Are you going to say Trump's bad?
When the pledge is
Are you gonna say
fulfilled,
Joe?
sir, when the pledge is fulfilled, then I'll have the details of the pledge, and then I'll
Yeah,
be able to
the
decide
pledge
whether
is
it was a
public.
good thing for America or a bad thing for America. I already said this
Right.
part,
So,
sir.
so
Did
when
you not hear me the
Stockport
first
Bank
time?
is investing $100 billion into semiconductor jobs in America, I'm pretty sure that's going to happen because we're in the middle of an AI race. Is that good or bad?
Okay, so we're off of the Qatar thing now. And your
No,
answer
that's still
to
an
your
invest-
answer,
that's still foreign
sir,
investment.
I have no problem moving on to the chips and semiconductors. That's totally fine. But I still would
Still
like you to
foreign
answer what outside of Donald Trump said so do you have as far as proof that a singular dollar is being invested in foreign investment from these countries?
If the president of a foreign country,
No,
and
sir,
our
sir,
current
sir.
president says
What
it's going to
outside
happen,
of the president
you
said
just asked me a
so?
question. Why are you interrupting?
Because
me? You're gonna mute yourself
you're
and then
not
talk
answering
over
the
me.
question. What do you have? What
I
do you
just
have that's
did. I
tangible?
can't even answer the question. You're inhaling all the oxygen in the room. I'm about
What
to
do you
die.
have that's tangible?
What is non-tangible? If two presidents of a country say they're going to
Okay,
invest,
so
then
you
that's
have
tangible.
no
That's
will to actually have an
definitionally
actual
tangible.
conversation. Okay,
No,
that's
that's
totally
by
fine.
definition.
No, so
tangible.
you have no will to actually have a conversation because the correct answer to your question, sir, and it's a simple one, right? Is you don't have any. Okay,
It's
you not only
insane.
You
have.
hate Trump
All right,
based
I'm
off
muting you
of-
again because this is pathetic. What you are literally saying is I have none. So your entire statement of that we had $11 trillion in guaranteed investment is completely non-factual because nothing is guaranteed, because nothing's in writing, nothing's in anything except for Donald Trump said so. That's it. That's all you have. Okay. And if we believed everything that Donald Trump says, we already would have gotten a Doge check, right? We'd have a tariff rebate check right now. Donald Trump would have been nuking hurricanes. Okay. There would have been, we would have been freaking injecting ivermectin. All right. If we listen to just every single thing that Donald Trump says and just count it as factual as soon as he said it, then we'd be super, super worried about how the windmills are causing cancer in Wales, or that we'd have a replacement for the ACA. Okay. But since we don't have any of those things, even though Donald Trump said that we were getting all of those things, okay, we therefore cannot trust that just because Donald Trump says it, it is factual and it is going to happen. Now, like you said, if it does happen, then cool. Then we can address it factually from there and we will see whether it is beneficial or not. But until that day, it is not guaranteed investment. It is just Donald Trump talking, and that is worth not shit in my book. So, yep.
So, am I unmuted now? I'm still not unmuted? Oh,
Oh, he hung up. That guy's talk show must not be very successful. Anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Ogden, thank you so much for the one gifted. I appreciate. I didn't hang up. Don't thank me. I didn't hang up. He ran. I didn't hang up on him. He ran. See, he was so confused about the fact that I stopped talking and allowed him to talk that he got confused and ran away. All he had to do was speak. Oh, dude, thank you so much for the gifted. I really appreciate that. Kayla, thank you so much for the $5 over on Venmo. I really appreciate that. He's so upsetty spaghetti. He was very upsetty spaghetti. Loyalty, thank you so much for the $2. Said it's just a pledge, not an agreement. Shaking my head. Exactly. That's all. Trump knows Biden and Obama are better than him. Yeah, that's why he's constantly chasing him. That's for damn sure. Thank you so much, Loyalty. Billionaires vote their economic interests. They spend billions convincing you to vote against theirs. Vote against yours. That is also very true. And that's what Donald Trump does all the time. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate that. And Tobin said, this caller is a prime example of dumb people don't know they're dumb. Yeah, he is literally the Dunning-Kruger effect. Literally the Dunning-Kruger effect. All right. We're going to move on to the next caller. Hopefully we do better than that. Also, I think I've talked to that guy before. I'm pretty sure he did the same thing last time. Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How old are you?
I am 43.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Say that again?
Do you still support Trump?
Oh, yes. I support Trump.
Awesome. Why is that?
I feel like, although I don't agree with his tact, I think he
Insane.
has a lot of bad word salad. I think that he is short with his how he goes about attacking his opponents. I still feel like the country is a net positive with him in charge, as opposed to what we've had from especially Joe Biden this last go around.
Awesome. So the economy is at the worst numbers since the shutdown for COVID. We're literally bombing boats and committing war crimes and having congressional hearings over the Department of War saying signal stuff over. We're talking about a land invasion of Venezuela. We've literally raised prices for everybody while alienating us from our allies. Exactly how are we better?
I don't think that the economy is the worst it's ever been. Tell me what you mean by that.
I didn't say it was the worst it's ever been. I said it's the worst since we shut down for COVID.
Okay.
I.e. the job numbers, right? We had the first job loss numbers in like June or July since COVID. We have the highest unemployment rate right now since COVID. We have the highest inflation rates right now, over the last year and a half, 2 years or so, as inflation continues to rise year over year.
We definitely do not have the worst inflation rate since COVID.
I didn't say we had the worst inflation rate since COVID. I literally just said my time frame for that.
Okay, but so we have a less bad inflation rate since Biden.
No, the inflation rate is the same right now as when Biden left.
But it was at 9% when Biden took over.
It was not at 8 and 9. It was 6%, I believe, or something when Biden. No, that was the unemployment rate. It got higher under Biden, but the whole world went through inflation. It has nothing to do with Biden.
It does have something to do with Biden because it has everything to do with the massive COVID bills that were going on during that time.
So,
And
sir, the inflation rate in
the
Canada
way-
was like comparable to
by
the
the
United
way-
States. Did Biden cause that also?
I think the world follows the United States, absolutely.
Nope, theirs went up before ours. So we'd be following
No.
them. How did Biden cause inflation in other countries? Specifically, when I say other countries, I mean the entire world.
So you're saying that it went up first in Canada.
It went up all in different spots, all around the same time. So it was very, very close. But regardless of any of that, sir, please explain to me how Joe Biden. Hold on. Please explain to me how, sir. I just want, sir. I just have a quick question, sir. I just want to know. You said that it was Joe Biden spending COVID money, right, with COVID bills. I want to know how Joe Biden spending money with COVID bills caused inflation to rise in Canada.
So when you have the United States that is spending massive amounts of money, and those other countries, goods and services, supply and demand, all are affected. If you're saying that we live in an island, that's not true. That what we do affects them, what they do affects us.
So what you're saying, sir, is when supply and demand across the entire planet goes down, then everyone's affected?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Supply and demand went down all across the world because of COVID. Okay. And then because of that, the whole world went through inflation. So you just nailed on the head why we went through inflation. You just hit it right on the head.
Right.
And then you're blaming Biden for something that he did not cause.
By the way, I don't agree with how Trump signed on to that COVID spending either. I think the spending got out of control. It started with Trump. It worsened with Biden. And so that is directly affects the inflation. And so it was worse under Biden.
Of course it was worse under Biden, sir, because we reopened up from COVID under Biden. It stayed down because we were still shut down. Because if nobody's spending money, then we don't inflate anything because we have an excess of goods, right? And nobody buying it, so that drives prices down. When we reopen the economy, just like Republicans wanted, right? When we reopen up the economy while supply chains are still down, now we have an excess of people that want to spend money, right? So we have a high demand and we have a low supply because things aren't being built at the same rate, and we have supply chain and supply route issues. So therefore, inflation goes up. Literally, reopening up after COVID was the largest reason behind the influx of inflation.
So if I understand you correctly, that it's a victim of circumstance in Biden, and it's not a victim of circumstance under Trump.
It depends on what you're talking about. The fact that the fact that COVID hit under Donald Trump is not. Donald Trump was a victim of circumstance of COVID hitting. He didn't cause that to happen. Okay. Just like Biden didn't cause COVID to happen. Those things are out of the control. But if we have direct policy decisions that directly affect things, i.e. we've had inflation coming down since the beginning of 2023, and inflation has steadily gone down all the way through 2024, and then Donald Trump comes in and puts in policy that caused inflation to start raising, then no, that wasn't COVID, that wasn't victim of circumstance, that was Donald Trump doing it.
Inflation's at 3.5%. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I hear you. I know what the inflation rate is. What was it when he left office? When Biden left office?
So when Biden left office, it was about 3%, but it's not all that. That's at the very last part of his presidency. If you want to compare last parts of presidencies, then you're going to take all the good that Donald Trump did in the first 3 years. Then you have this COVID circumstance that you want to say, oh, well, it's Trump's fault.
What have I blamed Trump for, sir? I have only blamed Trump for the economic decisions he's made in this term. I didn't make a single comment about anything that happened to Donald Trump in his first term after COVID. I didn't make a single comment about that. So what are you talking about?
So fair enough. Let's talk about, though, the first term. What happened from...
Why are we not just talking about right now? Donald Trump's making bad economic decisions for us right now. Okay? We've been like a million under hiring this year. 1 million jobs under hiring. People are firing people left and right. All major Fortune 500 companies are firing people. It's been like 1 million jobs lost since Donald Trump took office. The current unemployment rate's like 4%. Inflation is rising year over year at, like you said, I didn't think it was 3.5, but 3 point whatever percent. Why am I going back to Donald Trump's first term? We know what happened in Donald Trump's first term. He freaking bumbled the freaking entire situation. Didn't shut down when he was supposed to. Okay. spent a whole bunch of fucking money giving out stimulus checks, and left the United States at an end job with a minus 2 million jobs, which partially was like not really his fault because he needed to shut down the government. And I don't really blame him for that part. I blame him for the fact that so many people died when they could have been saved by the vaccine at the time. But I'm not worried about that because, again, that is a victim of circumstance. He mismanaged it. Okay, but that's not what that's over. That's done with. I can't worry about that anymore. I can worry about what Donald Trump is doing right now. And Donald Trump said 2 months ago that inflation has ended, that there's no more inflation. He's also said that your prices are cheaper now, okay, than they've like ever been. He said he ended inflation, all right, and that things are cheaper now than they've like ever been. Are either of those two things true?
Inflation has significantly slowed, and like I said, he has pretty bad word salad. That is factually incorrect that inflation has ended. We can agree on that.
Inflation has not slowed.
Yeah, inflation has definitely slowed. In fact, that graph that they showed that they backed up because they showed, oh, look, how it's more expensive than it's ever been, but they look at the spike in the inflation rate under Biden. They want to ignore that part. Inflation exists. There's almost never deflation. And so I'm not saying that inflation doesn't exist. I'm not saying it's not the most expensive that it's ever been, but it went up so much more during that spike, during that 8-9%, 2 years before the end of the Biden
for
presidency.
the whole world. Sir, it slowed under Biden. We had this thing called COVID that Biden couldn't. Sir, we had this thing called COVID. Okay, that Biden. Are you saying Biden caused COVID?
I'm saying that
No.
2 years.
Are you saying,
after,
sir? Are you saying that Biden caused COVID?
that tactic doesn't work on me.
No,
Like,
it's a yes or no because you keep blaming Biden for what COVID did. So it sounds to me like you're saying that Biden caused COVID. So I'm just trying to make sure we're clear here that Biden did not cause COVID, and COVID was the leading reason, okay, for that inflation. Okay, so since Biden couldn't cause, it would be like me blaming Donald Trump for 7 million jobs lost at the end of his term. That'd be fucking ridiculous, right? Why would I do that? That was COVID that did that, right?
Fair.
I understand that COVID did that, okay? So let's not blame presidents for things that they didn't cause.
Fair enough. He didn't. You're not going to take that last term and count it against him. Credit to you. I'm giving you credit.
I am going to take Donald Trump's the things that Donald Trump did as credit to him. If Donald Trump did it, then I give him credit. I don't give him credit for things that are an act of God. Okay, I don't blame freaking Biden for Hurricane Milton hitting either. Okay, it just happens.
I want you to take the inflation rate, because that's what we're talking about, during the last 6 months of Donald Trump's presidency, and compare that to 2 years later. You can't no longer blame COVID for 2 years later.
Yes, you can.
Compare those numbers.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
What are you talking 2 years later? Dude, this is the worst economic disaster since the 2008 recession and housing bubble pop, and we didn't recover for that for 5 years. Probably more closer to 6. Yeah, it was like 2014, 2015 before we even got close to back to before we even got close back to the numbers, okay, that we had before the 2008 recession, okay? But yet all of a sudden you think that this economic disaster is somehow supposed to be fixed in 2 years? That's ridiculous.
So why weren't we seeing the same numbers at that last 6 months of the Trump presidency? Why do you not give him credit for that?
Because I already explained this, sir. We didn't see those numbers because we were shut down. You're not going to see inflation numbers when nobody's moving, nobody's going to work, and nobody's spending money. Sir,
Okay, so
you do realize that supply and demand has an effect on inflation, right?
I do.
Okay, so if, again, I already went through this, if nobody's spending money, right, and so we have a whole bunch of stuff that nobody's buying and we can't move it anywhere, then that's not going to be inflationary. It didn't start until we reopened.
Because you're talking about people. Inflationary is actually largely caused by government spending, which it spent out the yin-yang during the very end of Donald Trump, and more so during the Biden administration.
Sir, that is just one piece of inflation. Okay, government spending is a tiny, tiny sliver of what causes inflation. Okay, let me ask you a question, sir. What do you think is more likely to cause global inflation? Okay, I think a 10% inflation rate worldwide. What is more likely to cause that inflation? Biden spending money on his people or a worldwide pandemic? Which one do you think is more likely to cause a global pandemic? Thank you so much, No Face. I appreciate that.
Are you talking to me?
Yes. Which one do you think is more likely? Do you think that egg prices and grocery prices went up in Somalia because Donald Trump because Joe Biden gave out stimulus checks, or because of a worldwide pandemic?
Oh, I think that the egg prices in other countries. Okay, I'm just trying to get an understanding of the question here. You're asking me if the global pandemic, which caused shutdowns of governments in every part of the world, yeah, they do have an effect on inflation, more so than stimulus payments.
Look, I'm not saying that freaking excessive government spending can't be inflationary. It can, okay? The Republicans, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, argued this in the 2020 debate against when they were trying to run against Donald Trump. They said, "Hey, all of this spending that Donald Trump is going to do, it's going to inflate our economy." Okay, so when we see super high inflation, blame Donald Trump. That's what Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley said. The Republicans said that. Okay, I'm not saying that it doesn't have some effect on it. It does, but the large thing that caused inflation was the pandemic. Okay, so I'm not going to blame Biden, all right, for a pandemic happening. What I am going to do is judge Biden on how well he did in handling it afterwards. Okay, and what he did afterwards brought us down to that 3% inflation rate, and it was actually down to like 2.4 at some point in 2024, right? That 2.4 to 3% inflation rate that he got us down to in the recovery, the fact that we recovered from COVID faster than any industrialized nation on the planet, that's what I'm going to give Joe Biden credit for, is what he did with the situation he was dealt. All right?
So we're just disagreeing on the timing here, buddy.
Well, we're not disagreeing on any type of timing. I'm just telling you what happened.
Because you're saying that the inflation is not affected the 2 years after Biden took over, and that is still being affected. I'm saying that's a direct cause of how he handled the COVID pandemic.
Correct, sir. The direct consequence of how he handled it is that we got to a 2.4% inflation rate.
2 years after. 2 years after, we were at 8-9%.
It was like a year and a half after, but regardless, that's still really fucking fast. You understand that, right? That is faster than any sir. That is faster, sir. That was faster, sir. That was faster than any industrialized nation on the planet.
What's faster? The recovery?
That 2 years down to under 3% was faster than any other industrialized country.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take your word on that. I don't know the history of other inflationary reductions.
That is screaming fast. Again, Obama did a good job with the 2008 recession, and I still think it took him like 4 years or 5 years to get down that far. Biden did it in 2.
Okay. Those are two different issues. First of all, because that was a not government spending, that was caused by the housing crash, where you were having subprime mortgages being supported. This wasn't
because of the government spending either. It was because of COVID. I don't know why we can't get this through our heads, big dog. I don't know why you're having such a hard time. I know that it makes it like, I know in order to have your talking point, you have to find a way to blame Biden for this. I understand, okay? But sir, you don't get to, okay? This inflation was happening whether Trump spent the money or where Biden spent the money or any of those people spent the money, it was still happening because of COVID. Point blank. That's why it happened everywhere else.
Yeah, that's not how it seems to me. I was doing worse under Biden.
Sir, I'm not saying that you weren't doing worse. I'm saying that the spending is not the problem.
I disagree.
Well, you can disagree all you want. It doesn't change anything.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
your disagreement doesn't change facts. No offense, okay? But you can disagree with the facts all you want. It doesn't change them, okay? The fact is that, like I've said for a 1,000 times, every country's inflation went up all at the same time, and there is no possible way that Biden spending money could have caused that because even you said that that wasn't possible, okay? So if you already told me that the entire world's inflation going up all at the same time couldn't have caused this, then it is completely impossible, okay, for Biden spending to have done this. That's all. But anyways,
that's
regardless.
not impossible. That's exactly what happened. So we don't disagree on the facts. We disagree on the interpretation of the facts.
No, the fact is that COVID caused it, sir. Period. Not the spending. That's a
I
fact.
disagree.
Well, you don't get. You can disagree, sir. You can disagree that the grass is green or the sky is blue or that the ocean's blue. You can disagree with all of those things all day long. You can tell me that this pen isn't purple. Doesn't bother me one little bit. It does not change the fact.
Yeah. So the fact is, the inflation was twice, double under Biden. You can't take that away. You can misinterpret it all you want. You can come along and say, oh, it's because he COVID and it takes 2 years. It's bullshit, dude. You're full of it. You just own it at least. I think I've been owning it way more than you have.
You've been wrong the whole time. Of course you've been owning it. What am I going to own? I've been right.
Okay, you're wrong because I say so. That's what you're. That's what you're doing.
What are you talking about? I'm freaking owning it because I'm not gonna what? You want me to freaking say something about how right I am? I have been the whole time.
Good. Keep patting yourself on the back.
I will.
All right, good.
All right. Well, that's all you got?
That's all I got for now. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good one. Yeah, what am I going to admit to? I'm doing great up here. Yo, please make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Oh, we're going to keep this thing going. No Face, thank you so much for all of those galaxies. I saw every single one of them. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Delissa, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Delissa says, Dump Truck, I love the poorly educated MAGA brain cult callers, the inability to understand facts and reality. So when Dump Truck shits out of his mouth, they gobbled up his facts. I just didn't understand that one because he agreed with me that there's no way that Biden spending could have caused the inflation for the whole world. He was like, I agree that couldn't have been the case. And then I'm like, so COVID caused it for the whole world. And he's like, nope, it was Biden. It doesn't like it was like he was willing to agree with all of the facts, except for, with the reality, we can't blame Biden. So we can't have that. Thank you so much, Delissa. I appreciate that. And Tad, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Said Trump spent like double. How does he square that circle? I'm not real sure about that. Donald Trump spent literally double in COVID spending as Biden did. Literally double. It makes no sense whatsoever. Anyways, y'all, thank you so much, Tatted and Delissa. I really appreciate that. W's in the chat for both of them for the support. Y'all, if you guys like, first of all, make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. If you guys would like to support the live, I do have super chats open, like you guys have seen. Memberships open. I also have pay links in the bio, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. They're all at Polypolitics, just like my name. So if you'd like to support, those are all great ways to do it. And I really, really appreciate you guys. I will be on early I'm going to open up the phone lines, but I will be on early tomorrow. I know normally I'm off on Fridays, but I think I'm going to do a little afternoon live tomorrow afternoon. So I can't wait to see you guys then. I was going to take a TikTok guest, actually. Shoot. Do I have one? I don't think I have one. I was going to take a TikTok guest too. Dang. Oh, well. Hello, how are you? Hello?
You remember me?
Remember you?
Remember when you
Why would I remember
hung
you?
up the call on me and blocked my number and then sat up straight in your chair and told everyone that I in fact hung up? Isn't that hilarious?
Who are you?
I was the first caller, the one you hung up on and then sat up in your chair and
Oh,
told
yeah,
everyone that I hung up.
there's
I
actually
recorded it too.
yeah, there's actually, when you listen to the recording, okay, you'll
Mhm.
hear a sound when you hung up. It only makes
I
that
know.
sound when you hang up. It doesn't make that sound if I hang up on you. So the fact that the
Right.
whole crowd can hear that
Bro, I'm
sound
writing
means that
notes.
they know that.
Everyone
So
in the
watch, I'm
chat
going to show you
said
right
you
now.
hung
I'm
up
going to
and you
hang
hung
up on him right now, okay? Oh, it does make the sound. Oh, well, that time I did hang up on him. I thought it didn't make the sound when I did it. That was on me. I hung up on him that time. That I thought I didn't make the sound then, but no, it does actually make the sound both times. I did hang up on him that time. Yeah, not the first time. That's not me. Yeah, I 100% did it that time. No, that was the first guy that was on here earlier that was just freaking yelling and screaming over me every time I said 2 words. And honestly, I just have better things to do with my time than listen to him yell any longer. I just have better things to do with my time. All right, well, we'll see if we get any guests coming up here real quick. Let's see. I said I had some TikTok guests earlier. I was gonna take them, but they all disappeared. It's funny how short of an attention span they have. But yeah, we'll see if we get any more calls in a second. That dude went and got another phone, by the way. Got another phone. Called again. By the way, I didn't block his first number. He could have just called me from that one. I have no idea what he's talking about. Hello, how are you?
Thank you for answering again. Now let's get to the point.
Are you obsessed,
gonna
dude? Do you have
demand
a
this one?
problem?
I'm not obsessed. I just called you. You have nobody else calling you because you're fucking nobody, dude.
All right.
Now
That's
get to
well,
the
I would
point.
rather talk to nobody than talk to you. You are a waste of
I'm not-
oxygen. All right. Guys, consent. Consent, guys. I know that MAGA isn't very big on consent. Okay. I understand. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. How old are you?
I'm 40.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
But I did want to touch on some of the inflation stuff. You mind if we speak about that? No, I'm wanting to get some clarification. So, like, Obama's economic advisor said that, and this is truly me just trying to get your perception on this.
Okay.
Larry, I think his name's Larry Summers. He was saying that what Biden was doing was going to cause inflation.
Okay.
So I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Sir, I'm not saying that the things that he was doing wasn't inflationary. I already said that.
Right. And you're 100% right. It was not global inflation completely caused by Biden, but the economic reports that came out during Biden, like at the end of Biden's presidency, did show that he increased it about 2% worldwide.
I don't believe that that's true. I believe that economic report said that COVID spending raised it about 2%, and Donald Trump spent more on COVID spending than Biden.
No, yes, and I 100% agree with what you're saying there. But I think there should be some sort of distinction between funds that we're needing and funds that were just kind of for political points. You know what I mean? So, and I am not by any means, I've been very critical of the president in this term. I'm not liking a whole lot of the things that are going on. But I do feel like, reasonable conversations need to be had on what happened there. I don't like people spending money for political points. Can we agree on that?
I mean, I guess it depends on what they're spending money on.
So like the very last round of stimulus checks, right? That 1.9
I don't think any of the
trillion
rounds of stimulus checks were smart.
No, I hate stimulus checks across the board. Like, I'm very libertarian. Like, I feel like, let businesses fail, let us build back, but just like if somebody drove a truck into my house, there would be some responsibility to that. With the government shutting down all businesses, like telling me that I can't run my business and I need to stay in my home, then there should be some sort of compensation, which is what Trump did. But then afterwards, once we were opening things back up, that additional money that came out,
It's
we were already on
insane.
the path of rebuilding. And then they poured another $1.9 trillion with the World Economic Forum.
So you're telling me that $4 trillion of stimulus checks that Trump gave out, you're totally cool with, but less than half of that Biden gave out, you have a problem with? Doesn't that seem a little disingenuous?
No. So because what I'm saying is essentially the government shut down it was by force. And the only people that, elites across the board were the only ones ignoring that order.
No, states were ignoring it individually. Like I live in Florida. It was like COVID never happened here.
Right. And you all had the least amount of economic strife, if I'm not mistaken.
And the highest death toll.
No, I believe that was New York.
No, that was per capita. It was Florida.
No, I understand per capita might be different, but the largest death toll was New York.
It was one of the highest. Maybe it wasn't the number one. It was number 2 or 3. Then I can look it up, but it's not that important. It was one of the highest by a long shot. I'm not going to argue semantics over it, but the fact that Florida, had less economic impact, but also had one of the highest death tolls should show you something. I expect it in places like New York. They live on top of each other.
Okay. And all right. So then, if you're looking at it that way, California should have been rural California should not have had the death tolls that it had.
It didn't have any type of death toll in again, per capita in comparison to cities.
It did. But that is, again, we're talking about, individual areas like where I'm from, Tennessee, right? It was pretty crazy here too. And I don't think anybody's arguing that, or hopefully nobody's arguing that some sort of response was not needed. But I think we're straying off the inflation comments.
Can we talk about inflation real quick?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, you know which state had the highest level of inflation post-COVID?
No, I don't have that set on me. No,
It'd be Florida. Florida actually had the highest had the actual highest cost of living and highest inflationary numbers post-COVID. It was incredibly high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so they may not have experienced everything in real time, but they all kind of got there anyway.
Right.
So,
and
but regardless of any of that,
cost of living.
Oh, go ahead.
One of the talking points that obviously people come back with on that is where is the cost of living the highest? And that's normally in larger cities, right?
Of course. And why is that?
Okay, so that would be a very good question. 8 of the 10 are Democrat ran.
Well, sir, almost all cities are Democrat ran.
No, well, so if you're looking at say,
but see, this is what's called a causation versus a correlation fallacy. Okay, things are more expensive in cities. Okay, because a lot of people want to fucking live there, and there's not enough space for as many people that want to live there, right? Which drives rent costs up. It drives, buying costs up. It drives commodities up, right? It's very inflationary in cities, right? That's why cities have a higher cost of living, okay? It has nothing to do with who's running it. It doesn't matter whether it's someone red, blue, purple, green, whatever political color you want, okay? Cities... Mm-hmm. Always have a higher cost of living. They also almost always also have higher wages to make up for that cost of living. Okay, that is completely different. All right, from them being Democratic ran. All you're saying is that the people within that city have a certain type of ideology, politically, mostly socially, right? Mm-hmm. And that's generally because the Democratic Party is usually more, tolerant of many different types of people, religions, mindsets, gender ideologies, all that sort of stuff. And people in cities are usually forced to live right next to people that aren't like them. And so they tend to gain relationships with people that are not like them. So they're taught tolerance. So they usually vote for Democrats, but those two things are different reasons for why they're happening. Does that make sense?
I'm having a hard time figuring out how tolerance got into the conversation, but yeah.
Because
And
you brought up that these
can I,
cities are Democrat ran, as if because they're Democrat ran is why inflation, why cost of living is higher. And those two things don't have anything to do with each other. The idea is that there's a lot of fucking people in cities, right? A whole lot of people and not enough room. And both of those both cause a higher cost of living, and they cause these places to be more democratic. But it's a lot of people in a small space that causes both of those. It's not one causing the other, if that makes sense.
No, but I think multiple things can be true at the same time, right? Like, so you know, I believe a lot of the policies that are run through larger areas, you know, like for Dallas, for instance, right? Dallas doesn't have a whole lot of inflation. They have, you know, they have a very and yes, I know Texas has the oil reserves and things like that to boost the economy, and I agree to that. But Dallas versus Austin, which is in the same relative area and with the same kind of access to resource, you know, funds for resources like oil and things like that. You know, the inflationary numbers on those two cities are drastically different.
So are the wage differences. People make a lot more money in Austin than they do in Dallas. I don't believe that's true, but I'll take your word for it.
Hey, can I off here? But I wanted to say how nice it is that you're willing to have these conversations. And I think this type of discord is needed. I don't appreciate people. I've run across your feed maybe twice, and I wanted to say how commendable it is that you're willing to have the conversations with people that disagree with you.
Oh yeah, that's totally awesome, man. But I did just look that up just real quick. Austin has a higher median household salary, and it has higher cost of living and a higher salary.
I'm looking at GDP.
Oh, I don't know about GDP,
now,
sir. I'm talking about just how much people are making based off of how much things cost, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, right? Like, so if we have something like Dallas that, you know, you're saying has lower inflation numbers, lower cost of living, which I believe is correct, right? They also have lower wages and pretty significantly lower wages. It's almost 50% higher in Austin.
I'd love to look at those numbers. I think that would be a really interesting study.
Yeah, I'm looking at median salary of like.
So I apologize.
Yeah, I'm looking at median salary in Dallas being like 60.9 thousand, and Austin it being 86.
Okay, yeah, so that is a significant increase.
Yeah. So again, like I said, like they cost more, but people make more.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we can have another conversation soon, and I've enjoyed listening to you.
Awesome. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I hope you have a good one. All right.
You as well.
All right, man. Bye. Luis, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. And mad callers have to go to Obama because they don't have more ways to defend Trump. Sooner, like, they've already tried to, like, first it was like, we can't defend Trump, so we're going to talk about Biden. Then all of a sudden it went to Clinton, right? Now it's to Obama, right? I don't know. I'm going to be defending fucking, like, Carter soon or something. I don't even know. Like, we're just going to have to keep moving presidents. I don't who am I gonna have to defend Lincoln pretty soon in his economic policies? How far are we gonna go back? Y'all please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. Ford, I'm gonna defend Gerald Ford? I don't want to defend Ford. I'll defend some of the Roosevelts. That's about it. All right. I'll defend a few of the Roosevelts. That's about it. Not going any further than that. Taft. Wow, we're pulling out presidents we all forgot about. I'll do some Kennedy defending. That's fine. Guys, George Washington had way worse economic policies than Donald Trump did. Hello, how are you?
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How old are you?
I am 23.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
I do support Trump.
So now why do you do that?
I think when it comes to American policy, I think we need someone who's American first when it comes to the presidency. So I think he's run a very excellent campaign, Agenda 47, everything. He's been fulfilling his campaign promises, and he's just a no-nonsense guy. I like that.
Yeah, that I don't know what you're talking about, but sorry, I was looking at something that admiral is testifying on. Anyways, my apologies. So, anyways, how exactly is Donald Trump America first?
I think his economic policy when it comes to tariffs has been America first. I feel like with all the money coming in from tariffs, I think having all of that happen for Americans is a big eye-opener from what we had in the previous administration.
Awesome. Who pays tariffs?
I would think the people who pay tariffs are the businesses that are doing the trade from, like the international trade, and then also the actual countries that are doing trade with the United States.
Well, you'd be right for the first one, wrong on the second one. Yeah. So importers, U.S. companies that are importing foreign goods are the one who pay tariffs. Okay. So no money is coming into the United States from tariffs. Okay. It's not coming in. It's already here. Okay. Bragging about tariffs is literally bragging about Donald Trump raising taxes. And that's just such a weird stance to have. How is raising taxes on Americans America first?
I would say when it comes to the actual tariffs, they're on exports too, correct?
No, a tariff is literally an import tax.
Yeah, but we do a lot of business with other countries that also sell things to us.
Yes, when we sell to them, we're subjected to any tariff that they have on us. But our tariffs only are a tax on imports that we get.
Right, and the imports come from other countries and other companies that are outside the United States.
Right, but those companies don't pay any extra. Those companies don't pay anymore. They pay the same amount. The importer pays the tax and then usually pass that on to the consumer if they can't eat it, which most can't.
Well, when it comes to doing that, don't you think most companies would switch to someone that was in the United States, like helping an American business and using that instead of importing from like a different country? Isn't that the point of having higher tariffs?
Yeah, so that makes an assumption, right? And it's cool. Sorry. That makes an assumption. And that assumption is that there's a company here that makes it at scale for what these companies need at a comparable price. And for the most part, that's not possible. Does that make sense of what I said?
Yeah, I kind of understand.
So I'll give you I'll give you an example. Okay. So say Amazon gets, I don't know, they buy a million brooms from China every year. Okay. Let's use a more like logical number. Okay. We'll say 1,000, but we'll just take it down to scale. Okay. I know it's more than 1,000, but we'll take it down to scale. Right. Say they get 1,000 brooms. Well, first of all, we have to assume that there's 1,000 brooms being made in the United States by American makers. And for the scale that Amazon buys things like that, I promise you that they aren't. Okay. But even if they are, right? Say Donald Trump puts a 100% tariff on brooms, right? And each broom they buy from China costs, Amazon $2 to buy from China, right? He puts 100% tariff on it. So now the Amazon has to pay China $2, and then they have to pay the United States government $2. Now the assumption has to be that not only are there enough brooms in order to meet the need of the people, but also that those brooms cost less than $4, which is also not the case, right? So it's still cheaper for them to get it from China. Well, first of all, it's the only place they can get it from. Second of all, even if they couldn't, it would still cost them more to get it from an American company than it would be to get from China, because the numbers are just don't add up. You'd have to put a level of tariff on that was ridiculous, and even still, then it wouldn't really change anything.
Well, even these companies, I mean, they make billions of dollars a year. So even if they're paying the tariffs by importing goods from a foreign country, I mean, that's the price that they have to pay to do that. Beforehand, we didn't have anything like that.
But they're not doing it. That's what I'm telling you. What they're doing is, say they were getting the broom for $2, right? And now, they have to pay $4 for it. Now they're just passing that extra $2 on to you when you buy it, because that's still cheaper than buying it from an American company. So they're not eating anything. They're just passing it on to you, and then you pay more.
Well, I mean, is there, like, I'm guessing that you're getting this from like a study that you've read, or is there like any numbers?
This is actually like
prices have increased.
Well, I mean, like them passing it on to the consumer, that's literally coming out of the mouths of like the CFO of Walmart, the CEO of Target. They're telling you specifically like, hey, we were able to stay this off because we had a big like storage amount of stuff that we had bought from China. But as these tariffs continue, we're passing them on to the consumer. We have to, because our margins in these for these products aren't high enough to do anything else. So we know that they're paying it because that's the definition of it.
Right?
What?
Prices are coming down though, right?
Absolutely not. Consumer prices are up across the board in the United States.
Is that in the rolling 12 months, or is that month to month, or what are you are you saying?
They've gone up every month significantly, right? And year over year since Donald Trump has been in office, now that he's been in office for about a year now. But yeah, no, consumer prices, even from the reports from BLS and many other independent agencies, consumer goods are up across the board.
Now, tariffs, I mean, there have been some across the board tariffs depending on which country you're actually trading with. But I mean, has that connection actually been made, the tariffs and then also the rising costs with the CPI, or is that also an assumption that you're making?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch your question. Can you ask it again?
Yeah, I can ask it again. So is the tariffs that are across the board the reason why CPI is up across the board, or is that an assumption that you're making?
No. That's exactly what's happening. The Federal Reserve has talked about it, right? Multiple, pretty much every major economist, including right-wing economists in the United States, are specifically even saying it, right? That it's a direct reflection. I mean, I don't understand how it, like, I mean, it like, take economists out of it. It just makes logical sense, right? Like if you owned a store, right? Again, there's millions of small businesses that get their goods from other countries, right? Specifically China, because they have a very, large, industrial workforce, and they have all the conditions for factories that are needed to make these products, right? Say you own a store, right? And you are, you're buying this product from China that, they're able to make it for $5. You sell the thing for $10, right? If now you have to pay a 100% tariff, right? So now you have to pay the government $5 and the Chinese company $5, right? Can you still sell that thing for $10?
It doesn't seem like it.
No, it'd be impossible, right? You would make no money and you'd go out of business, right? The only possible way for you to stay in business is to raise the price of your good in order to make up for the cost of the tariff.
Okay.
So again, they were able to stay it off for a bit because, well, especially large companies, small companies took the biggest hit, but especially like large companies like Amazon, they had 3-4 months of inventory set aside, right, in order, in case anything happens, and so they were able to sell their their current inventory at that rate. But as soon as like Donald Trump would like lower the tariffs, they would just buy a shit ton of the stuff like right off the bat and store it all again just in case Donald Trump gets frisky tomorrow and decides to put a 400% tariff on China or something tomorrow because it's completely unstable. But no, it's not America first. It's literally just Donald Trump raising taxes. And I think the worst part about it is not just the raising of taxes, right? Like specifically, I'm not saying that every tax raise is bad, right? What I'm saying is we're not getting anything out of it, right? What have we gotten out of this tariff rate, out of these tax raises on all of our consumer goods? All we've gotten is a giant corporate tax rate cut, which has resulted in millions of jobs being these same companies laying off millions of people over this last year. Your prices haven't gone down, right? And we have more defense spending so we can bomb boats in the Caribbean. Like, what are we getting out of this raising of taxes? We're not getting anything.
Well, what's being said, which I don't know is happening yet, but what's being said is the actual tariffs coming in, like the income from the tariffs, are either going to be distributed back to the American people, or they're going to be used to pay down the national debt. Which two things that I think one of them is supposed to be happening in the future, so I guess it's not happening now. But the national debt is something that I don't know much about, but what I've heard is that's where the money's going.
Yeah, so Donald Trump has already got approved $4 trillion in national and improved debt increase for the national debt, and has already asked for like a higher debt rate ceiling in the big beautiful bill. He's not lowering the debt; he's raising it, and government spending's at an all-time high. And if you think you're getting a tariff rebate check, you're crazy. Like the only way that happens is if Donald Trump, because he's being sued significantly, right, for all of these tariffs because they're killing these companies, right? The only way you see a check is if Donald Trump gets forced by the Supreme Court to repay tariffs. And then maybe he'll send you a rebate check because what he was doing was illegal.
So you're saying that Donald Trump's tariffs are illegal?
I mean, that's for the Supreme Court to decide. Technically, according to the Constitution, the only people that have a right to tax the American people is the legislative branch. So Congress has the right to tax, right? And since tariff is an import tax, technically, right, there are some scholars that say that Donald Trump does not have the ability to individually tariff. We're going to have to wait for the Supreme Court to make that decision. I don't believe that he does.
And that's being debated in the Supreme Court right now.
They haven't heard arguments or something like that, but it's up there. Not to mention all the singular companies like Costco just decided to sue Donald Trump individually for the tariffs.
Now, why would Costco sue the Trump administration if they're making money still by increasing their prices?
Because they can't keep prices as low as they want to, right? Costco makes money by selling things in bulk and keeping prices down based off of membership costs, right? If they have to raise those prices, then they lose business, right? They're raising prices, but they're not seeing the benefit of that cost increase. They're charging more, which means less people are buying, right? And they're not seeing any capital from that.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm still trying to figure, all of these arguments out since that was like a lot. But I would say when it comes to tariffs, I mean, tariffs have always been a part of our trade agreements before.
Like which one?
I mean, like. I would say tariffs exist. That's my point.
Well, no, tariffs do exist. They're not all tariffs are bad. I'm not making the claim that all tariffs are bad. I'm making the claim that Donald Trump's blanket tariffs are bad.
Right, but when it comes to the actual tariffs themselves, I mean, like we said, tariffs exist, and not all tariffs are bad. how do we determine which ones are good or bad?
The purpose of them.
Right. And
I'll
the
give you
purpose of these-
I'll give you an example. Okay. Under the Biden administration, there was a tariff put on electric vehicles, right? And on semiconductors, right? The reason is because we weren't making semiconductors in the United States. China was kicking the shit out of us, and we needed time to build up our infrastructure in order to make semiconductors, to make chips in the country, right? So Donald Trump tariffed other countries' semiconductors to limit what they could bring in, right? And then specifically subsidized chip manufacturers to come to the United States and start building chips. All right. So we were isolating American industry from another country's industry, so we had the right to build. So we had the ability to build up to be able to be sustainable, because we don't want to be reliant on other countries for chips, right? That would be a bad thing. All right. Do the same thing with like electric cars and a couple other things, right? So targeted tariffs like that can be very, very beneficial to go like, hey, this industry, like we're shutting down all, we want to shut down all imports of certain products so that we can stabilize the country, right? Specifically. Sorry, I said Trump. I meant Biden. Biden did that, right? Biden's the one who did the semiconductor thing. Trump just threatened to tariff Brazil because he doesn't like that Brazil put on trial their far right-wing ex-president. You see how one of them is directly affecting and helping an American industry, and one of them is just a whiny little bitch just throwing out stuff in the morning?
I think that's pretty extremes, but I would like to. I mean,
he put a tariff on Canada because they ran an ad against him.
Well, I mean, I would say, I mean, the benefits of tariffs when it comes to the semiconductor example, I don't know why it couldn't apply to the broom example from the Amazon example a couple minutes ago. And I still don't see how we're not boosting the American economy for people bringing all of that business back from overseas to start doing business without the tariff in place. Like I don't see how that can't be divorced from the tariff itself.
What I'm telling you is we're not doing that. I'm telling you that jobs are not coming back to the United States, and industry is not coming back to the United States based off these tariffs. And any industry that is coming back is outweighed by all the other companies that are just dropping their jobs anyway. Right?
What about the big investments in the country that is always talked about by the current administration? That's just all phony baloney.
I mean, there's been no signed agreement and no structure built for any type of, external financing from any other countries. So until there is, then it's just he said, she said bullshit. Wow, I just quoted Limp Bizkit there. Sorry, I just did that on accent. You want to know how you're a millennial? You accidentally quote Limp Bizkit. Anyways, what I'm saying is, like, dude, some of these numbers that they're saying that they're investing in the United States, they're not even like real. It's just like other countries being like, we'll give you $8 trillion. Like, and it's like, okay, how are you going to do that? In what form, right? In what industry are you building? Are you bringing companies over? Are you doing this? How are you doing this? Right. So until there's some
like a big investment from NVIDIA to do the whole chip thing as well, like doesn't that carry over as well when it comes to the tariffs that we put on China and different countries that manufacture the chips? Like that doesn't carry over?
Nope. They had already agreed to bring over their industry under the Biden administration, under the Chips and Sciences Act. They just said they were going to, do some more chip stuff, some more investment in AI stuff, right? But the agreement, the infrastructure, all that stuff was built under Biden. That was before Donald Trump's tariffs.
Right. But I mean, the tariffs themselves, also increases the pressure to do more in the United States though, right?
They didn't need to be pressured. They were already doing it. I mean, the tariffs that Biden put on for that did help to do that. Also, the subsidies within the Chips and Sciences Act helped them to do that. But Donald Trump's tariffs didn't do that. Saying we're going to put tariffs on all countries doesn't bring anything back. Okay, there's no point on it. Like all things from all countries everywhere, it doesn't bring anything back. We don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the jobs, we don't have the space, we don't have the people. We do not have the ability for these industries to all start coming here to start just manufacturing products. It doesn't exist. We have like, I think like a few months ago, it's probably higher now, probably around 8 million people that are unemployed in the United States, 9 million people, right? You would need 100 million, if not more, to even scratch the itch of these companies coming over here, right? We don't have the people. We don't have the people. We don't have the natural resources for most of these things, right? Our wages are significantly higher due to cost of living in the United States, right? And U.S. labor laws, which, I mean, that's kind of a good thing why we need to bring it back, because some areas in the world do have some really bad labor shit. So that is one reason why we would want to, force things out of certain countries to other countries, right? But not specifically to all bring them back here, right? So like we just don't have the ability to. Donald Trump could put 1,000% tariff on every single country across the world, and we'll starve before we start building all this stuff here.
Well, that hasn't happened. He hasn't done like 1,000% tariff on a country.
I was being hyperbolic.
Got it. Okay. Well, I mean, I would say, there's just a lot of things to go over your position. I mean, I don't really know what your position is other than bashing Trump. Like, I don't know if there's...
It's not a matter of bashing Trump, sir. It's Donald Trump's decisions are bad for America. You made the claim when you came up here that Donald Trump is America first. My position is that he is not. It's just that simple. The things that Donald Trump is doing, all right, do not positively affect middle class or lower class Americans in any way, shape, and form, right? And they only barely help the freaking upper class, right? Just because they're giving them, giving them huge tax cuts that they can use to line rich people's pockets with and their shareholders, right? But the American economy isn't doing better. The American people aren't doing better. Cost of living isn't going down. We're not safer across the world. We're not safer, in our homes. People aren't able to buy houses. None of these things are good for America. And Donald Trump's policies aren't helping any of this thing. Donald Trump is more concerned with trying to, create a peace board in the Middle East than he is about doing anything that's actually America first. He's bailing out Argentina and bombing boats in Venezuela. That's where Donald Trump's concern is. They're not America first.
Yeah, but those are drug boats coming into the United States, right?
They are not. No. Well, I mean, they might be drug boats. They're not coming into the United States.
I mean, where did the drugs come from?
Well, if they are drugs, they're coming from Venezuela, but they are still 2,000 miles away from the United States in boats that don't have enough fuel to reach 2,000 miles.
Well, there has to be some type of network with other countries for that to work, though, right?
Less than 10% of the cocaine that comes to the United States comes through Venezuela, and that's not even the number one killer of people in the United States, which would be fentanyl, which is drugs, ingredients that come from China and it's made in Mexico, right? And trafficked through there. So even if you were trying to attack drug cartels, you're not even in the right spot.
Yeah, I don't think bombing China would be a big foreign policy decision that I could get behind, even if the drug problem was that bad. Because that would start World War III, I'm pretty sure.
Donald Trump already said that he was freaking talking about doing a land invasion of Venezuela. He already specifically said that.
Not Venezuela. I mean China.
Yes, that would be World War III. Yes. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, sir, is that Donald Trump is not doing things that are America first. Attacking freaking speedboats and fishing boats or whatever in Venezuela is not helping. How old did you say you were?
23.
You're 23. Are you more able to buy a house now because Donald Trump is bombing a boat in Venezuela?
I don't think those are connected, no.
They're not. That's what I'm saying. Are you able to, is your cost of living better? Do you feel more comfortable starting a family in the United States, like, domestically, Is anything in your, like, are you more able to get a job? Are your wages going up? Are any of these things happening because Donald Trump is bombing a speedboat in freaking Venezuela, spending a shit ton of American tax dollars to do it? I don't know if you know that or not, but drones and missiles are not cheap. Okay, neither are large military operations. All right. Don't are any of these things, are helping you as an American? What is Donald Trump doing that is helping you?
I think right now, with even if let's say I agree with every point that you made, right? Let's say I agree with you and I stop supporting Trump. I feel like there could be more damage if Donald Trump wasn't the president.
How?
I just think things could be worse for me personally.
How?
So if there were, if there were different land disputes or different wars going on, like I really didn't understand the support that we had to Ukraine for so long. I think that teetered on almost getting into war with Russia. I think right now we're in a little bit more stable place because we don't want to get into wars with other countries, like big countries that would be really bad for both sides.
So let's start with A. We were nowhere near even touching the brink of maybe sniffing a war with Russia. Okay? We weren't even fucking close. Okay? Not even in the ballpark. Okay? So that's a joke. Second of all, Russia has now been fighting a war with Ukraine for how many years now? You think Russia's going to get frisky and try us? They can't handle what? Like the 60th or 70th largest military in the world? They're going to go straight for number 1? Give me a break, man. We are nowhere near close to war with Russia. We're not getting in a war with Russia. Okay. This is some Cold War era fear-mongering boogeyman shit, right? Saying that, oh, we were going to get in a war with Russia. No, we were supporting Ukraine because we support our allies. Because we agreed to support Ukraine. Okay. And we were supporting them in a way that was the least invasive way that we could do that. We could have, by all, thoughts of the imagination, we very easily could have sent troops in there and used that as fulfilling our agreement. But we didn't send a single troop over there. We just gave them some old weapons. Said, have at it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I really don't know. I think things could be a lot worse under somebody else. I don't know what the alternative may be that won't be as stable as Donald Trump.
Sir, any alternative would be more stable than Donald Trump. We're about as least stable as we could possibly be right now. What are you talking about? Our allies don't trust us. Our enemies definitely don't trust us. And Americans don't trust even their fucking government. How could we possibly be worse?
Well, like you said, like if I try to put in perspective of what has Donald Trump done for me, in my personal life, I think things could be a lot worse in my personal life, due to the federal government, depending on, who was there. I feel like things in the past, 12 months have kind of pretty much been the same, when it comes to prices and when it comes to wages and different things. Like, I'm just chilling.
So wages were going down for the last 18 months to 20 months under the Biden administration. It's not wages, prices, cost of living was the inflation was going down every single month. The unemployment rate was going down every single fucking month, right? We had improvement every single month. We had 2 different, federal interest rate cuts, right? We had isolation of chips. We had all sorts of things for 18, 24 months after Biden's presidency. Now all of those numbers are going in the opposite direction, right? So what I'm saying is we were going in a good direction. Donald Trump turned around and sent us in the opposite direction. And you're like, well, I think we could have been worse. Yeah, I guess technically we could be worse. We still have a long ways to go, right? Donald Trump is out there again, bombing boats and calling American citizens garbage people and telling them to go back to where they came from, right? While implementing horrific, immigration policies. So we still have like a long way to go in Donald Trump's presidency for us to get a shit ton worse. But what I'm saying is we could have been a shit ton better, right? We had the total possibility of being a shit ton better. And instead of getting to a shit ton better, we are going the opposite direction, right?
Okay. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I understand your point. I think when it comes to all of these issues, it gives me a little bit more insight where I probably have to read some more.
Reading is always good. I agree. You should always be reading.
Yep.
All right.
Well,
I'm going to let you go. Hope you have a good one, all right?
All right. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Bye-bye. Always be reading. Reading is good. Y'all hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Valador, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I didn't catch who got them, but I do really, really appreciate that. Huge W's in the chat for Valador. For the gifted, I do really appreciate that. I am going to get off for the night and go watch the second half of the football game. Y'all, I will be on early.
It's insane.
Tomorrow afternoon, I'll be on. Probably around I don't know what time. 1-2 o'clock Central. Whenever I get up and have a good breakfast and lunch and chill out, I'll be on. So hope to see you guys then. Please make sure you guys come and hang out. Love you guys. Oh, lovely goddess. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. This fancy that things would have been worse if Trump wasn't president shows us 2 things. Trumpers are easy to fool and have zero defense for their stance. I completely agree with that. Thank you. I really, really do. I appreciate that. Lovely. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have a good one. I got nothing else. Love you guys. Bye. Oh, excuse me.